Court. Okay, the next part we're going to be looking at is going to be our guide block. Now, the guide block is a little bit different. So you'll notice that it has this void in the middle of the part. So how I'm going to approach this is I am going to look from this side, like I'm going to call that my front view. We're going to draw the perimeter going all the way around. I'm going to make it a full thick part to start out with. That's going to be 1.5 thick. And then we're going to actually create a rectangle on the top, and we're going to cut going down so that it has a depth, so that we end up with a wall thickness at the bottom of 1/4 inch. Okay. Then I'm going to put my holes, or my hole, through all after that. So I'm going to do this in one feature for the full thickness, a second feature for the cut going down the middle, and a third feature for the hole going all the way through. All right. So let's get started. I have SolidWorks open. I'm going to start a new part. Okay. I have inches down here, and I'm just going to double check my settings up here to be sure they're the way I like them. So document properties. I'm going to go to the diameter, change that to ANSI, linear, change it to ANSI, and radius, change that to ANSI. Make sure that my units are 5 places. Again, this one is a personal preference. I like 5. And I'm going to hit OK. Now I should be ready. So I am going to start by doing an extrude boss base, because that's going to create my thickness. Extrude boss base. I'm going to draw in my front plane. And then I am going to start my sketch with the line. I'm going to have my origin in the bottom left-hand corner here. I'm going to go horizontal, go at an angle. I'm going to go like this, and then like this, horizontal, vertical, over and down. So again, just sketching around the perimeter to get the rough outline of that profile. So I'm going to do a here. And I started my origin in that bottom left-hand corner. Notice anything that is horizontal or vertical has that relation in there. Now, to start my dimensioning, I'm going to go up to Smart Dimension, and my longest dimension on here is the 3.75, which is the overall length. I like to do those overalls first, because that way any of my interior stuff won't overlap. So I'm going to do the Smart Dimension. I'm just going to click on that horizontal line, left click, and then just kind of go down and then left click again to place that dimension. And that's going to be 3.75. Then I'm going to do the overall height here from there to there, because there's not a continuous line. I have to do line, line. So click, click, and click. And this is 1.75. There we go. This line is 1.25. So I'm just going to work around and get all of my dimensions that are given. Don't put any dimensions that aren't given. Stick with the ones that are there. The last 2 dimensions I need to do are going to be the 2 angles. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, for that, I can still use the Smart Dimension, but I'm going to first select the line that is at the angle. And then I'm going to select this horizontal line, because this is a 25-degree angle coming from that top horizontal line. So then I'm going to put in 25. Okay, so it's a click on the angle line, click on the horizontal line, and then a click to place the dimension. And I didn't change my angle dimension to ISO, so that's why it's looking the way it is. Then we're going to do the bottom one, the 60 degrees. The 60 degrees comes in from here. So it's going to be 60 degrees for the line. Oh, I grabbed the point, dang it. See, when I do that, if you're close to the center, it'll grab that point, but just go on the line, but then go down to the horizontal line. And then this is going to be 60 degrees. And once I get that in place, I left click, I am fully defined. I'm fully defined. So I'll leave this up here for a second so you can see the dimensions that I added. Okay. So once I'm fully defined, then I am ready to exit the sketch and do my extrude. And I'm going to do the extrude the full 1.5 inch thickness to make it a solid piece. Back over here, exit my sketch. And I'm going to do a blind. And this time it's going to be 1.5. Okay, so solid. And whether you go this way or back, it's totally up to you. I'm just going to let it go on the default that it has. And I'm going to accept that. There we go. Okay, I'm going to expand out my extrude 1 and notice that my sketch 1 is fully defined. Since I did a considerable amount of work here that I don't want to redo, I'm going to save my part, the name that it is, which is the guide block. So file, save as, and this is going to be the guide block, save. Now you'll notice that the name changed up here and I'm ready to do my next feature. Now I'm going to go back to the part, whether I make my cut going down the middle this way, or I put my hole in, it doesn't matter. All right. Order here of these does not make a difference. All right. So I'm going to make my cut going straight down so that I end up with that wall thickness on the back side of 1/4 inch and on the bottom of 1/4 inch. Okay. So going back to SolidWorks. So I'm going to start by creating a rectangle that is going to start on the same plane as this top surface right here. So I'm going to do an extrude cut. I'm going to click on that top surface. And now I'm looking straight down on it. So this is that left side. This is the pointed front side. Looking straight down. I can rotate it like this so you can get perspective if you need to. And then I'm going to look back on the top view. Top view. There we go. Now, what I'm going to create here is going to be a rectangle that's going to be, take up this space right here. So you'll notice that I could draw it separately line by line, or there is a rectangle function, okay, that I can sketch. So I'm going to use this rectangle function. So to use the rectangle function, I'm going to just kind of right about here, click, and right about, and I want to be on this line here, right about here, click. All right. So this is going to represent that outside like wall thickness of each one of these. So the rectangle is a corner to corner. So I'm going to do an escape and I'm going to do an undo. If you ever need to do the undo key, it's right up here, which is common to a lot of applications. So let me do that rectangle one more time. Rectangle function. I'm going to do the bottom left-hand corner right about here and the upper right-hand corner on this line right about there. And then I'm going to hit OK. I need to now add the dimensions. I know that there's a 1/4 inch here. So I'm going to do a smart dimension from this line to that line. And that's going to be 0.25. That was pretty darn close. Then I know that it's going to be a 1/4 inch on this side and on that side. So I'm going to go from that line to this line. And that is going to be 0.25. And then from this line to that line, any one of the outside lines, 0.25. There we go. And if I left click off of here, you'll notice that my sketch is fully defined, Now, before I exit my sketch, I'm going to rotate this. Okay. Hit escape to get off of that. I'm going to rotate. This is where the sketches that I just drew. It's right on the top of the part. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that rectangle and we're going to cut down just deep enough to leave a 1/4 inch at the very bottom. Okay. So that's what I got. So I'm going to exit my sketch. Okay. And now it remembers that I was in that cut. And right now it's assuming I want to go through all, but I don't. Okay. but the direction of the cut looks good. So I'm going to do a blind cut because I want to do it to a certain depth. Okay. And right now it's at 1.5, but let's check if that's correct. I think that might be correct, actually. I go underneath here. So the total height of my part from the bottom to the top is 1.75. And I need a quarter of an inch left over. So yeah, from the top all the way down is going to be 1.5. How did it know? Oh, this was 1.5. That's why it's assuming that. Okay, so let's go back. That's kind of lucky. So 1.5 is our number, and it's going to cut down through that. So I'm going to hit OK. All right. I'm going to click off to just kind of get rid of that. And look at there. There is my part. I'm going to expand out and make sure that my sketch is fully defined, which I am. And I'm going to do a quick save. Okay. So that was our second feature, cutting out that middle part. All right. Then the last feature that I have is going to be the hole going all the way through. So if I go back underneath here, this hole is a 3/4 of an inch in diameter, 3/4 of an inch up, and 1.5 from that backside. So I'm going to go back to SolidWorks. And this time that's going to be another extrude cut. So I'm going to go over to, I'm on my feature here, extrude cut. I'm going to select this front face here. I'm going to draw my circle because it goes to the sketch. Circle, circle. Okay. And then I'm going to smart dimension that outside diameter, 0.75. I know that from the bottom to the center, 0.75. And I know from the left to the center is 1.5. All right. And again, here's my sketch on that surface. I've got it fully defined, so I can accept that dimension. And now I'm ready to exit the sketch. It's going to go, I don't know why it's like pushing up to the right. I want to make sure that it's going all the way through. Now this is a blind at 1.5. If that dimension ever changes, I run the risk of my hole not going through. So I'm going to do a through all. Now it really doesn't change what this looks like, but it ensures that if this dimension changes, my hole is going to go all the way through each time. Okay. And I'm going to hit OK. And there's that last feature. So I'm going to expand that out. Now, the trick here always when we get parts that are a little bit more involved, I want you to position so I can kind of try to see all the features. So I want to make sure that I have a hole that's going through both walls. Okay. So kind of going something like this should be good. And then I'm going to do control and kind of move this over to pan. I'm going to do a quick file save. Make sure all of my sketches are expanded out and that they're all fully defined. Okay. And then now I'm going to do my Windows Shift S, go to my upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to left click, hold, and drag, and make sure that I get the whole model, the design tree, and the sketches expanded, all fully defined, and my file name. Okay, and now it's on my clipboard. I can go back to Word, and I can add it by pasting it on my Word document. Okay. Any questions on the guide block at this time? Okay. Then I will stop the recording.